Hello friends, welcome back. This is the sixth session of our Excel function series. Here it shows the list of functions that we plan to cover as part of this series. The green colored functions are covered in our earlier sessions, and in this session we plan to learn about if, nested if s, and switch function. Let us start with capturing and understanding the requirement shared by the key stakeholder. In our case, Mr. Ram, who is the owner of the retail shop, is our key stakeholder. And Mr. Sham is a data analyst working in the same retail outlet. Mr. Ram meets Mr. Sham with a request for updating the inventory data sheet for the milk category. He needs the additional categorization for milk such as high fat, medium fat and low fat for his understanding. To this request, Sham agrees but requests Mr. Ram to share the mapping of the product subcategory to the milk fat type. Mr. Ram shares the details that are noted by Mr. Sham. Mr. Sham, after noting down the requirements, moves towards his desk and open the Excel to implement the enhancements requested by Ram, who is our stakeholder. Mr. Sham believes that he can make this enhancement using Excel functions such as if s, and switch functions. Now, let us move towards our Excel series workbook and get into the hands-on mode. Let us start with covering the definitions of the functions if, s, and switch, which we will be covering as part of this enhancement request. Starting with the if condition. It checks if a given condition is met and returns one value if met, and returns other value if not met. If there are multiple conditions to be checked, nested if helps in doing that. Nested if conditions are written to check for one or more conditions. Moving to if s, it checks if one or more condition is met and returns one value corresponding to the first true condition. Moving to switch, it evaluates one expression against a list of values and returns the result corresponding to the first matching value. If there is no match, an optional default value is returned. From data perspective, we will be using the same inventory data which we have used in our earlier sessions. So this is our inventory data sheet, and we will be focusing on the products that have product category as milk. Our end goal is to create an additional classification of milk type basis fat content present in it. As per the requirement shared, the classification should look like: for buffalo and full cream milk, it should be high fat milk; for A2 cow milk, it should be medium fat milk; and for cow milk, it should be low fat milk. Important thing to note here is that the milk type can have three values: high fat, medium fat and low fat only. We have created 4 new columns for the Excel functions covered in this session. These 4 new columns will help in better understanding of the application and usage of each function. Column AA will help us in understanding the application and usage of if function. Column AB will help us in understanding the nested if conditions. Column AP will help in understanding the if s function. Column AX will help us in understanding the switch function. Now let us start with the if function. As per definition, it checks for a given condition, and if that condition is met, then it gives one output, and if the condition is not met, then it gives another output. So it will not be wrong if we say that if function can be used directly where there are 2 possible outcomes only, and only for one condition. Now let us try applying if function in column AA. To apply the if function, press equal to, then enter the function name. We can see that there are three arguments which go as an input to our if function. The argument 1 is the logical test or the condition that we want the if function to evaluate. If the given condition is met, then the argument 2, which is value if true, becomes the outcome of the if function, and if the condition is not met, then value in false, that is the argument 3, becomes the outcome of the if condition. Hence, it can be clearly seen that if function can have only one condition or logical test to be evaluated, and the outcomes of this condition and logical test can only be two. One is the outcome when the condition is met, that is true, and one is the outcome when the condition is not met, that is false. In our case, the expected outcomes of the if function can be 3. So as per the requirement, milk type can be low fat milk, medium fat milk, and high fat milk. And with the if condition mentioned here, we could only classify the milk type into two possible milk types. If the product subcategory has a value for milk products as buffalo milk, then if this condition is met, then we are saying that the outcome of this if condition should be high fat. Now, if the condition is not met, here we can only enter or give one outcome. So for ease of understanding, I have kept the value for all the other subcategory of milks as low fat milk. Now press enter and we can see that it is doing the classification basis two possible outcomes. If the milk is of product subcategory buffalo milk, then it will give the outcome as high fat milk. If there is any other product subcategory for the products in milk, for those all the subcategories, the milk type will be classified as low fat. So it will not be wrong if we say that if condition can be used directly for one condition and where there are only two possible outcomes. In case if there are more conditions and more outcomes and we are only allowed to use if function, then we can use nested if. Nested if helps in checking multiple conditions. In this, if function is called inside another if function, which is why it is termed as nested if. So indirectly, we have handled multiple conditions and outcomes using nested if. Now let us apply nested if. Enter equal to sign, start the if condition, enter the condition that needs to be tested. In our case, there are three conditions. So for the first condition, we are considering the buffalo milk. If the condition is met, then classification would be high fat milk. If the condition is false, that is, it is not buffalo milk, in that scenario, we will write another if condition which will test for other product subcategories under the product category of milk. In the second if condition, we will check if it is a full cream milk or not. If the product subcategory is full cream milk, then we would again classify it as high fat milk. But if in the scenario the product subcategory is neither buffalo milk nor it is full cream milk, then we will enter a if condition again and check for A2 cow milk. So we know that for the product category of A2 cow milk, medium fat milk classification, and now for the remaining product subcategory under the product category of milk are termed as low fat milk. Now we will have to close three if conditions, closing the first if condition which is for A2 cow milk, then in the reverse order second one is the full cream milk, and then in the reverse order third one is the buffalo milk, and then press enter. So this is called as nested if, as one if condition is called inside another if condition. So there are total 3 if conditions to handle high fat classification, medium fat classification and low fat classification. Copy the formula for the remaining products in the product category milk, and we can see that buffalo is correctly classified as high fat milk, the full cream milk is correctly classified as high fat milk, A2 cow milk is also correctly classified as medium fat milk, and the remaining toned and cow milk are classified as low fat milk. Now moving ahead to the if condition, which is in column AP, let us try to classify the milk type using this function. So to apply this function, select a cell, press equal to, and then write if s, which is the function name. So it shows here that if s checks whether one or more conditions are met and returns a value corresponding to the first true condition. The point which is important here is it returns a value corresponding to the first true condition. So our first argument in ifs function is the logical test or the condition that we want to evaluate. In our case, we would say if is equal to buffalo milk, then classify it as high fat milk. Then enter the second condition, which is if product subcategory is equal to full cream milk, then milk type will be classified as high fat. Since we have more conditions, let us add them here. If E2, which is the product subcategory, so in the case of product subcategory as A2 cow milk, the milk will be classified as medium fat milk. So to set the milk type for the remaining product subcategories as low fat, enter true, a condition which is by default true, and then enter the milk type which you want to classify the remaining ones. In our case, it is low fat, hence we have entered in the last if, which is equal to saying if true then low fat. Press enter, and now copy this formula to the remaining cells. So we can see that buffalo milk is classified as high fat milk, which is correct. Full cream milk is classified as high fat milk, again that is correct. Then the A2 cow milk is classified as medium fat milk, which is also correct. And now the remaining ones, which are the cow milk and the toned milk, are classified as low fat milk. We can see that nested if was difficult to understand. If there are more conditions, it becomes difficult to understand, and syntactically also the closure of the brackets can become a little confusing. This, if we compare it with the if s condition, the if s condition is very clean. It just look for various conditions and output in case of true for the various conditions. It is a clean and readable function which makes it better from the maintenance perspective as well. Now moving to the milk type classification using the switch function. To apply a switch function, select the cell, press equal to, then write the function name, which is switch. Enter the expression which you want to evaluate or the condition which you want to evaluate. In our case, it is just E2. Now enter the value which you want to compare it with, which is in our case, let's start with buffalo milk, and if it matches, then the result should be high fat milk. Now checking for the remaining ones. If the product subcategory is full cream milk, then again it will be classified as high fat milk. If the product subcategory is A2, these are different values which are being checked against a given expression, and wherever this expression meets the value, first that becomes the output of the switch function. A2 cow milk as per the requirement is set as medium fat. Now the remaining product subcategories, which include cow milk and toned milk, would be classified as low fat. Just enter low fat, close the bracket and press enter. Now copy this formula to all the products. The outcome is same as IFS function or nested if. Let's meet in our next session for covering the remaining functions.